We do have a team of property managers, and if you're on our team, we have an agreement that we all go by the same referral fee structure. Okay, and at the end, I'll give you a referral form. I didn't bring them with me, but I'll make sure that you have a referral form that you can send back. We have property managers pretty much in the four corners of Northeast Florida. I've got one out as far as Hastings. I've got a property up in Yulee, so that's Nassau County. Clay County, of course. I just picked up a property in Baldwin. So, we just really cover a lot. So we have property managers just about everywhere. The referral agreements, or what we'll pay you for referral, being an agent with the same brokerage, is going to be consistent. We do not compete with one another. So what I give you will be consistent with another agent. And I make sure of that because I'm the one that sees who's getting paid referral agreements, so we just don't compete among ourselves. That's non-negotiable. What I say is the referral fee that we give you is really a token of our appreciation. You're not going to get rich off of it, okay? If it's a property that's below $1,000 monthly rental, we pay $100 in a referral fee. And that all referral fees will be paid at the time of collecting the first rental check, okay? If the property rents for $1,000 or more up to $2,500, then we will pay you $250. If it rents for $2,500 or more, which would be considered to be a premium property, then we'll pay you $500. Our highest property in our portfolio now is one at the beaches for $5,000 a month. But if you go above $5,000, let's talk. I guess it becomes negotiable. But that would be so $1,000, $250, $500. So that's really a token of our appreciation. We work with the same brokerage. You're going to you have just as easy as access to James as I do, and so you're protected in that way when it comes to a sense of quality. It's not like if you refer to outside entity that you'd have to call that broker to complain about that property manager, right? So, I don't think that you would have to call him to complain, but we do work for the same broker in the end. The most important thing that we really do for our agents, because of starting off in sales, I understand the importance of this, is that we have a referral form that once we have our signature on it with you, that will be saved in the file, and when that property becomes available for sale again in the future, you will get that referral back to you for sale, okay? No arguments. Every property manager knows it's not up for discussion. I don't care if the owner says, well, I really want my property manager to do it. It's not available for them to sell, okay? It's period, no questions asked. So your relationship with that owner is going to be protected. And again, we work with the same brokerage. You're going to have it in black and white with our signature that it will go back to you for sale. So there should never be a concern about whether or not you have that sale coming back to you. We will start talking to the tenant and the owner first to see if they want to sell, getting 2 months prior to the end of the tenancy. And if they're talking about wanting to evaluate the possibility for sale, then that's when I call you and I say, hey, they're considering selling, and you start talking to them about selling it and doing the comp so that they can make a good evaluation to what they would like to do after the tenancy's over. So we'll coordinate that very closely with you. We can also put the property up for rent simultaneously while you are selling the property. And I do that. I continue to do that even though I have found that as soon as I do that, it's going to make your property hot and you're going to get a contract and sell it. Because not always, I mean, sometimes I have actually beat out the sale part of your property, but it seems like as soon as I get it up in the MLS, on the sales side, the contract comes in before sometimes I even. So it's good luck to do that, and I would encourage you to do that. But we put it up on the MLS as a rental. You have it up on, as a sale. I have signs that the last time I did this, I have signs with a writer at the top, a writer at the bottom. I put my name at the bottom or top. You put your name at the bottom or top. It says sale, rent, so it's on a single sign. It's very clear. The only thing that if you do that, we ask that the agreement will be with you and the owners that if you get your contract for sale, we take it off as a rental. But if we get it as a rental, a lease, prior to you selling the property, you take it off the market for sale. Okay? It's too difficult to find a tenant that is willing to deal with traffic throughout 12 months. I promise you, though, that if the owner wants to sell it, then during the tenancy, towards the end of it, that we could confirm that, get it on the market, and work with the current tenant in the property within 2 months of the end of their tenancy. Okay, and it'll go back to you. But I occasionally have an agent, because I understand that eagerness, and they're like, well, the owner really would prefer to sell, so we want to keep it on the market through the tenancy. And I'm just real open with it. In order to find a tenant that's willing to put up with the traffic for 12 months, you would have to so significantly price it below value, market value on the rental side, in order to get him into that property and to deal with it. It just isn't really worth it. So it's got to be kind of either or. Once a contract is in, then the other side would no longer be marketing it until towards the end of the tenancy. But we really the majority of our referrals just over 2 years ago came to Florida Homes, no accounts and property management. Today we're popping probably this last year close to 150, maybe 160. The growth, just over half of that has come from referrals from agents that work here at Florida Homes. So, our reputation with you guys are real important. So don't hesitate to reach out to me or any of the property managers on referrals. It is kind of tricky. I just had the first, just released owner proceeds yesterday, and so it was less, and the owner gives me a call, says, hey, she knew that an invoice was against it. She said, tell me more about it. And the invoice was that there's grease in the kitchen sink that I had to have snaked out. Well, the tenant's been in there a couple of months. We had a tenant in there prior to her. So I'm not sure if she's inherited the grease or not.
Right.
So I told the owner, this could have been from the other tenant. I had already emailed the tenant after I got the invoice and said, hey, there's grease in there. This one's on us. If it happens again while you're in there, that one's on you, so trap your grease. Right. So I was able to send that to the owner to reassure her that, out of fairness, we're paying it. She called me, of course, right before Thanksgiving. Everybody's coming in. I've got to have this done, I've got a couple different vendors. And our mix of vendors is, because you want to try to retain them as much as you can, because if you're not responsive, then you have a turnover, then it kills, vacancy days. So I got a couple of vendors like AC. I've got one that's a husband and wife team, and they rock. Great rates, great customer service. During the July, you might not be able to get them out there quick enough.
Yeah.
Then my other one's, Creek's Air, multiple trucks, same day as long as I call them, higher cost. I know the cost is going to be higher, but I got to get them out there. Heating, had to call, first thing, wake up, 7 o'clock, getting ready to go to eviction. My heating's not working. Well, in Florida, what do they say about heating? Florida, your statute, well, it's across the country. Heating is, you jump on it, but not the cooling, which is crazy because, most people would rather, but cooling, so I know heating, that's my priority of the day. I'm getting that in. There's no toying with that because I don't want her to be pushing back. So expectations, that's a good one because they're going to complain anyways, but I usually make sure that they feel comfortable that it's been received. And then, like I move in, expectations on move-in is easier for me because what I do is I say, okay, here's a piece of paper. We do our walkthrough. I say, something's not going to be working. I promise you, something's not going to be working in here. The last tenant didn't report, didn't say that something wasn't working, but you're going to find something not working. The only thing I ask is if it's something that's not causing damage to the property that you can live with, write it down on this piece of paper and flush every toilet and use every shower and give me a week of you being in here so that I have a list that I might be able to send that handyman out to knock it all at once. So the expectations on move-in is I've got down a little bit better because, they will find, a few things.
There was one lady in like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and she was finding things. They're minor.
Yeah. Now there also is a way to kind of stop that too. You could accommodate. There's 2 leases that we use: the Florida Association Home and Realtors leases. One is for single family and duplex, and the other one is for townhome or condo in a community with the association and common areas. The one with the condo and townhome, I really like the section that you put in amount, and I put in $100. That the repair actually has to be significant enough in order to pop over $100. If I have a home warranty on that property, I might drop it down to the home warranty visit pay, so that if it's $75, they're paying the home warranty, and for big ones or little ones. But that stops my cabinet doors not shutting all the way. If they have a mortgage, we have them pay the mortgage directly, typically. During vacancy day periods, if usually the old tenant will cut it off, utilities. And so we try to get the utilities on. During summer, mold problems shows better. During winter, it gets dark so freaking early. So, we try to have utilities on, and that's an expense in between tenancies. HOA payments, they're obligated for that. You do not want to push that onto the tenant side, because if they're not paying for that, then those HOAs have just about as much power with foreclosures as those banks do. So you want to make sure that HOA payment is always caught up, and so you want that on the owner side. Other things that are optional, I like lawn service for higher end properties and HOA communities to be included. I can get my lawn guy out there. If something's not working or they see distress, the communication's a little bit better. Sometimes with the tenant, they'll cut off that irrigation in order to save them money, and you do that in the wrong period of time during summer, during a couple weeks of dry spell, and that irrigation's off, you're resodding it because it just won't come to life after it's burned up. The other secondary thing that sometimes we have built in, the owners are paying for it, but I say owners, but we'll do lawn service through our books, pay them directly, but, offer it as part of the lease. Pool care sometimes is helpful, just to make sure the pool's being taken care of and not turning green.
Termite pest control?
You can do that, and in multi-door properties, then you might want to do that because if you don't spray the whole property at once, you don't have much of an effect. I write my leases that the tenant's obligated for pest control.
Okay.
But when I move them in, because a judge will tell you this, that if you move them in and they abandon the property after complaining about those pests right after move-in, and there's roaches, crawling all over the place, a judge will often let them out of the lease, because it's not as considered by many to be a safe place to be living, and they're not responsible for the bugs that they inherit. So I will put it on my lease as they're responsible for bug service. But I explained to them, I'll move in, I have to hear from you within, and that's part of that sheet I give them about repairs.
Right.
You need to tell me within the first week if we have to spray. Now, sometimes I think we end up spraying when it's not necessary because I tell them that, and they think, free, let's get a spray. But, that way I could have it documented that we did have the spraying, that it was reported. But, I say if you call me, a month into this about having bugs, those are your bugs at that point. And we're not going to do a spray. You're responsible for it.
Home warranty, obviously.
Home warranty would be paid by the owner, but if
bond renewal,
owner. Home warranty, the overall yearly premium paid by owner, and you could write your lease where the tenant's actually paying the site charge. The concern with pushing that onto the tenant is that because home warranty can be for something more major, if the tenant's trying to avoid, for example, a slow leak, something maybe as easy as a very slow water drip is a killer on the floors, subfloors especially. So they're trying to save money by not calling it in, so you don't know anything about it, and then it's causing this subfloor damage over this period of time, just because they're trying to avoid money. So you always have that balance of wanting to be involved and not wanting to, pay a lot of repairs, but it's hard to separate out the two. You don't want things not to be reported to you either. I put smoke detectors on my lease on the tenant side. I put changing out locks and keys on the tenant side. Some owners will do that automatically. I have very few that will. I'll tell them locks have not been changed. You're welcome to change out locks, but I need a copy of the key, and if you do, you're going to have to pay for it. If you want a good locksmith, let me know, and I'll give you mine. I put smoke detectors on the tenant side, but the statute makes owners responsible for them, because you have to have them installed, but we still have the new ones actually have a battery that lasts a lot longer, that can't be removed. And that's new updates in Florida law for landlords. I put it on the tenant side because with the old smoke detector, I tell them, I don't know when the battery's out. I don't want you, taking out the battery and not replacing it. So I'm putting this on your side, but if it's not working the way it should be working, let me know ASAP so that we can get a working smoke detector out there if it's not just a battery problem. So, I just put it on their side because I want the communication about it. But those are the big things. All right, guys. Well, I appreciate it. Sorry for being in your ear so much.